Of course, now we know this morning Mecklenburg County Sheriff McFadden survives one of the tightest races in the county after yesterday's primary election, winning a third term by about 3% percentage points over his challenger Ricky Robbins in a four-way Democratic primary with no Republicans in the race. Last night's result is pretty much the whole ball game, whole thing. This morning, right now, the sheriff joining us here in the Live Impact studio. Good morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. How are you all?
We are fine. Day after primaries. How are you?
A little tired. You know, we still have to run an agency, and we still have to take care of the 1.2 million citizens in Mecklenburg County. So it is still a job to deal with and balance every day.
You know, I said to you last night when I saw you at your watch party, why are you tired? I mean, understandably so, of course, approaching the end of primary election night. But you were there for your supporters, you said.
Well, yes, because most people don't understand that I'm on two national sheriff's boards, the Major County Sheriffs of America and the National Sheriff's Association. So I have to deal with them on their issues across America and not just Mecklenburg County. Then I also have the largest agency in the Carolinas as a sheriff's office to also contend with our daily battles. And yesterday was a difficult battle. I had to make some very, very difficult decisions and was on the phone with my staff most of the morning. And so all of that has to be compounded together. And then I still had to run an election, so it was very difficult. You know, Mr. Robbins and Mr. Collins and the other gentlemen, I probably didn't have to do that because they weren't over an agency, so they had a lot of free time. And so running that became very difficult, but my staff and I balanced it out well.
All right, very good. And again, like I said, 4 Democrats in this race, and you won by that narrow margin. What do you say to all of the voters, particularly the ones that did not vote for you?
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to thank the voters who supported me, and I'm going to thank the voters who did not support me, because the ones who did not support me made me stronger, made me realize that we have a lot of work to do. And a lot of voters got misinformation, so they were confused. And so I want to thank them, but I also want to thank God for giving me the ability to stand still, because I had to stand still and let God fight my battles. If I had fought my own battles, it probably wouldn't have turned out the way, because a lot of times I was angry. A lot of things happened towards me and my family on this campaign was unheard of. I just spoke to an absolute Republican official coming here today, and you know, he was talking about how people wanted to get him and others to attack me. But you know, I do have Republican friends, and we are friends, and the biggest thing that I learned about this whole campaign is loyalty. If you're going to be loyal to someone, be loyal to them through the battles and not come to them after the battles and try to pretend that you were loyal. That is the biggest thing that I found out doing this campaign, who was actually loyal to me and who weren't.
Any surprises?
Yes, it was a lot of surprises, and I hate to say it, a lot of them are clergy. And I had to have that conversation with them, and it was a big surprise to me, because once you say that you are supporting me, I believe that, but then when you go behind my back and say other things, or even like on Facebook, we had, you know, the clergy on Facebook, and you know, it was unbelievable of men and women of God who they say that was saying the things that they were saying, and so that was surprising. Other than that, no. The biggest surprise of some supporters that really supported me and came out of the woodwork, and I will never ever forget them.
In part of your victory remarks, because we were on right around 11 o'clock, we went on live last night here on WCNC Charlotte, and that's when everyone in the room were sort of chanting, "We won, we won." So the results were finalized almost, that 100% of precincts reported, and it seemed like that you have won at that point. So soon thereafter you made remarks, and you sounded pensive and introspective, and you were, I don't know, how do you feel?
Well, in that room, you saw Latinos. In that room, you saw people who people have counted out because of their criminal past and their criminal records. Then you saw the Nigerian community, which was one of my strongest advocates for me during that time. So when you bring all of these groups together, it was an odd group of people, but those people really supported me. When they saw what was happening across the city, across the county, and across the nation, they came to my rescue and supported me. And so I have to be thankful for that. The Latino community, the Hispanic community, the Nigerian community, the African community, the Pan-American community, they did not listen to the rhetoric. They came and supported me as their sheriff.
And that seemed to be one of the strong points as far as your reputation, your involvement in the community. That's what the folks that I was talking to last night, that they were saying about your tenure in your office so far. So I anticipate that you continue to forward that message and your involvement.
Yes, because your record is a proven record. You know, most people say what they're going to do, what they could do. So you think about this, as a candidate, you make promises each year. These elections should be weighed on, did you keep your promise? And I always would say this, in 2018, every promise I kept. 2022, every promise I kept. Look at the great and good we have done, but that was overshadowed by negative. And so I had to reach down into my soul. You know, I had to pray a lot. You know, two pastors that I'll never forget that said something during their speaking engagement at the churches: stand still and let God fight your battles. Stand still. And that was difficult for me because I wanted to fight and lash out, but then I had to stand still.
You said to me in the past that a lot of this negativity was part of a smear campaign, and your other candidates are also with the same message that this office, the sheriff's office, needs a bit of a culture reset. How do you combine the two, what other folks are saying out there, and that this is a smear campaign, and how do you move forward?
Well, let me go on two things. The people who are saying it is 1 or 2 or maybe 10 or 12 people have the smear campaign. They never talk to the mothers of the people who are incarcerated. They never talk to the staff who run my facility, detention officers, and they never talk to real citizens. When I said real citizens, citizens who go through battles that they have never talked to. Sure, in the 1.2 million people, you're going to find 10, 20, maybe 100 people to be negative. But here's what I want to ask them. If you have been a member at the sheriff's office and spend your time, be retired, go on about your business, and let us continue to run the sheriff's office. We have people still believing that they're going to run the sheriff's office underneath after they retire. If you heard one candidate, he kept saying we, and I had to say, you are not with the sheriff's office, but in his mind, he is still there because he knows, like everybody else knows, they are undermining our good work. And so simply, we are asking the people to work with us, make us a better and greater sheriff's office instead of the negativity that we always receive.
Have you heard from the other candidates, and does it surprise you that Ricky Robbins came in so close behind you?
Let me say this. I am not surprised by Mr. Robinson, Sergeant Robinson, coming in second. I honor him to this second. Even his family was outstanding. Each time I met his sisters at the polls, we greeted each other, we talked with each other. No, I did not. It was not a surprise that Ricky came in second. Ricky Robinson is the only candidate in this race that called me last night and congratulate me. That speaks volume in itself. So imagine, you don't have the ability or the courtesy to say congratulations on a win. But Mr. Robinson, Sergeant Robinson, my friend, did, and I'll always remember that. And we talked last night. And so I can tell you, Ricky Robinson will always be my friend, and his family will always be my friend. And believe it or not, his campaign manager will always be my friend.
You're heading into a third term now with questions surrounding a number of issues, right? From the federal level to Jail North and within your own office. How do you lead with all of that still somewhat hanging?
Well, it's not hanging. And let me say this. We understand that the Juvenile Detention Center takes funding from the state. So if the state wants to bring that funding to us, we are still willing to open the Juvenile Detention Center. Believe it or not, I believe they have someplace around $430 million to open the Juvenile Detention Center or reallocate that money. We still can have that conversation. The county is not in a position to assist with that funding. I know that, they know that, and the county has provided that information. But if the state and I can come to agreement on how they can fund this, I will open it. We will assist with hiring, and we will assist with running it. That is for the Juvenile Detention Center. Believe it or not, through all this shenanigans, as we said, with the federal, we are in good shape with the federal government. What ICE, not Border Patrol, but my staff and ICE has been working through problems since October 17th. Why did that stick out in my mind? Because October 17th we had a meeting and we came to an agreement, and we are still moving forward with that agreement. We also met with the other federal agencies to assist with bringing back federal residents classified as inmates back to the detention center to relieve some of the stress and financial burden that the federal government has for as people talking to their clients out of the state. So we well are on our way. We're going to always get scrutinized about how we run the facility because somebody else wants to run the facility. But if you want to have a conversation to better the facility, we are open to that conversation. Not through the media, not through the FOP, not through social media, not through any other media. Come and talk to us, and we can be a better agency. And the agency that you said that you want to see, we still can create that agency.
How is your viewpoint on working with the media, us, included, in voicing and having these conversations about and with some of these agencies?
Well, we clearly understand that the media has a role. But think about this. As the first African-American sheriff in Mecklenburg County, the black sheriff in Mecklenburg County, think we just came through Black History Month. How much was focused on the first African-American sheriff, or did we celebrate the first African-American sheriff? That'll be a no. So when we're talking about give us our due, if you run a story about deaths in the jail 20 times, run a story 20 times about no deaths in the jail during COVID. But actually, let's look a deeper dive into the deaths, because we can say that none of my staff, detention staff or deputies, was at the result of any of those deaths. We can classify it, we can twist the words, and as I classified it as word salad, you can do all of that, but we're going to turn away and continue to work. With this station, I think that we have a great relationship. Whether it's good or bad, I'm going to come and sit in this chair if I am allowed to. I think last night when I came, this station was the first station that I walked up to and had a very open conversation. So we clearly understand that. But when you send someone negative to me and it's negative, 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 and each story I see is with a hyperlink of negative, then we're going to back away. Think about it. You can have a story that has a bad partial, but we still can say, well, Sheriff McFadden did this. I have yet to see that. The hyperlinks are always negative. If we have one good story, then we can always see a hyperlink to a negative story that draws the readers' and viewers' attention. That, to me, is very unfair.
We do appreciate you coming to WCNC First last night and having that open relationship with us, Sheriff. As far as the staff, still short-staffed. Do you have a timeline?
We're working on that. I looked at the numbers last night. We're doing very well. But again, we asked the community, if you talk negative about something, you're not going to get positive results. We have people trying to come back. I can tell you that. We have 5 or 6 people waiting for me to make a decision to be rehired. We have people who have left who want to come back part-time. We never looked at those things. The public never looked at them, but this is what we're looking at now. And so we are in a good place. Yes, every agency across America has short staff. So don't make us look as though we are different. We are the same as any other agency. No agency that I know of is fully staffed.
All right. There you go. And with last month's oversight hearing in Raleigh, where do things stand there? Are you expected to revisit with them?
Well, here's what I want to say about the oversight committee. We were prepared to answer the 290 documents or items they asked for pertaining to public safety, IRENA, working with CMPD, and public safety. That hearing was never meant for anything else but to attack the sheriff. And if anybody sees it any other way, you are not viewing it. When you're talking about the 30-second clip of me talking about branches, I'm thinking that we're talking about state, county, and city. Because while we're talking about anything else, is what the state can provide, what the county can assist, and what the sheriff's office and the city could work together. When we had the mayor and everybody there, we thought that this was about Irina's law. We thought this was about public safety. Never, ever did we talk about anything but how we didn't do something, and I'm the elephant in the room. If we look at that 2.5 hours, it was a bizarre hearing. Now, after that hearing, they asked for additional documents, which took us 2 weeks. So imagine running a campaign, trying to give all these documents to them and provide what they need for the oversight committee. No, this was not anything but to point at Garry McFadden, point at the sheriff, make a mockery out of him, and drag him through this. One email that they wanted, one person's email, that we're talking about ICE. So they asked us to bring these documents. One person, from the time that I came into office until now, has 3,500 emails that mentions these words that they asked for. So any of these words would generate an email. One person, 3,500 emails, and they asked for all of that. How that's public safety, I don't know. All it is just bombard our office multiple times with requests that we're going to answer, but for what reason? It's not for public safety, not for public safety, not for public safety.
What does a successful third term look like for you?
Reaching the families, providing better mental health for my staff, better mental health for my residents, trying to find better housing solutions for the people that we evict out of their homes, assisting CMPD and the surrounding townships with public safety. And also bringing the community together to work together. We always talk about it, we always mention it, but who has the formula to bring them together and work together? Also, making party lines visible. If you're going to stay on this side, you're going to stay on that side, do that. But we want to make the party lines visible so we know who we're dealing with, but then also bring the parties together to work together.
That's a fine line, it sounds like.
Fine line. So we know the line, but let's come together. Why? Because I have these same conversations out of North Carolina, out of Mecklenburg with other sheriffs. We don't have that same problem in other counties, other cities, because I have to be a representative of all of the sheriffs in 13 other states. We work well together. It's just that we are not working well together here in North Carolina.
All right, you will continue the job come December. In the meantime, running the agency today and moving forward through the rest of a week. And we'll see you again, Sheriff McFadden.
We'll be back.
All right, thank you for your time. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much for your time.